Hang on, bear with. Good evening, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Firstly, I will apologise for the delay. The boss, Mr. Manley, is currently getting on a Ryanair flight back from Germany. And so he's left it in my incapable hands, and I've struggled something chronic to get my head around working the system for Streamlabs. But I think I finally made it. So welcome to tonight's episode of the Dark Mirror Radio Show. Me and Josh are going to be discussing strangeness that is UFO world at the moment. Over the last week, we know there has been some strange things going on in our skies all around the world. Not just in America, but at the moment it seems that America seems to be getting the brunt of a lot of the activity. It started off earlier on, the fortnight ago, with sightings over the UK. And then all of a sudden, things started happening over in New Jersey, and I'm sure on the West Coast as well. But Josh, obviously, being the man in the States for us, you know a lot more about what's been going on over there than we do.
Yeah, it is starting to spread like wildfire over here. Multiple states are having these drones, UAPs. It's funny too. Where last year they're UAPs, this year they're drones.
Yeah,
there's been spears that turn into what look like 747s. That lights don't match up. It's wild. Is this the start of Project Bluebeam?
Yeah, a lot of. I mean, I've seen a lot of videos on various platforms of social media where they've people have said, "Could this be Project Bluebeam? Is this the start of it all?" But there has recently been a few pictures that people have managed to take of these so-called drones, and it is a bit worrying. I can't remember what they called them now. I think they were the XP4 military drones. I did a little bit of prying, and I come across a video where somebody who works as a radar operator was told he had to leave his post for 3 hours, and it turned out that these so-called drones are a part of NEST, which is a nuclear exploration system. Something usually for a last resort. It's when they're looking for nuclear material. And good night. Thanks for photobombing. You know, and if nuclear material goes missing, obviously a search goes out for it. And apparently these drones are a last resort. So is this a cover story? Is this, you know, are they using this as a cover to hide the truth about what is going on?
There's a lot of scenarios playing out right now too, which is just a big diversion. We know with the new trade and power over here in the United States, there's a lot happening with these three-letter agencies. Are they flexing? Are they trying to save their jobs? Is that what we're seeing?
Yeah,
Um, the word Project Starlight. I want all of our fans to look into this, check on the CIA websites, and just do yourself a favor and look up Project Starlight. There's a lot of similarities playing out in that CIA document right now to these drones. Um, I can't think of something better to do if,
yeah,
as of right now, I'm sure, it's not a great time to be an FBI agent or CIA agent with what's
no,
happening, like change in the U.S. right now. We know we've discussed this about them being way more advanced than they let off. This could be them trying to
yeah,
avert the blame away from them for ongoing things. Um, like I said, it's very weird that they're calling them drones as well as not. Last year we had UAPs and now they're drones. Um,
yeah. I mean, I'd heard a lot of rumours that, or there was an accusation went out that it was an Iranian mothership had been launched last year and it had made its way over to the east coast, and this was where these drones were coming from. And they sort of quickly jumped on that and went, no, it's got nothing to do with Iran. Um, and some of the sketchy photos that went out there were of like there was a picture zoomed in of a wing of one of these drones, so-called drones, and it had words written on the side. And they went, "Oh, that's written in Arabic." And then another person said, "No, that says NASA." And then another person said, "No, that's XP4." And so many different accusations of what it could be got thrown in there again. So nobody really knows exactly what it was. And now there's accusations that one got shot down. There was a call for people to stop shooting at them because you don't know what they are.
There's also, I don't know if you heard this too, there's apparently some TikTok drone operators that have been apparently arrested trying to chase the drones with their own drones.
Yeah, I mean that struck me as funny actually. Last night I saw a video where there was this big orange light in the sky, and this guy was filming it, and they were going, "Oh, what's that? What's that? That's not normal. It's going too fast." And I thought, well, you've got a lot of strange um, camera action now, and all of a sudden you see this other much smaller light coming, which was blue and red, and that had marker lights on it, and that looked to me like it was a normal sized drone, and all of a sudden the small lights went into this big orange ball, and you see it drop out the sky. And someone went, "Oh, what's that orb? It shot the drone down." Well, like it crashed into it. So whatever smaller aircraft was, it hit the bigger one. And it wouldn't be surprising. Drones only have the small drones, especially anything under 250 grams, have a limited range. And if they go out of range, they're just going to lose signal and they'll drop.
Mm-hmm.
And this could be that sort of scenario. But there's so many things going on, different stories being put out there as to what it could be, what it is, what it isn't. I've seen, they reckon the USS Eldridge has reappeared,
I've seen that.
and they're using the drones as a cover story for that reappearing again. Amelia Earhart's plane has sent out an SOS from its last known reported place. So you're thinking, well, she disappeared in the late 30s. So all of a sudden now, Amelia Earhart's plane is sending out an SOS.
That would be worse. That was the whole, Admiral Byrd story.
Well, I mean, it to me sounds something very much out of Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Amelia Earhart disappears and then comes back. It's seems to be strange, but I mean, a lot of these drones now, people can make drones all shapes and sizes.
Well, that was one of the stories that I've always heard was that she found the same route Admiral Byrd did, and they were unable to successfully repair her craft well enough to let her go back, and they're pretty much all like, "Well, you're a threat," you know.
Yeah, you're gonna have to stay here now. That's it. Yeah, I mean, it's what you make of it, isn't it? And I mean, we've had.
You saw the one spring stuff yet? And
yes, I saw one. I saw one last night when there was 2 or 3 going down a main road, and they were spraying downwards. But I likened that very similar to when the pandemic was on and China was spraying the streets with drones. China did exactly the same thing. And I thought, that reminds me of a few years ago where they were going down the street and they were spraying disinfectant into the air.
Well, there's that video going around too before all this happened that China released. It's almost like it's similar to our 747s, but they're filled with drones. And they basically roll up next to fighter jets and they kamikaze these drones right into the engines so they can use a $50 drone, a bunch of $50 drones to take out a $2 million jet fighter. I mean, is that what we're seeing right now? Is this? I don't know. I feel like with how long it's been going, if it was probably another country, they probably would have taken credit by now.
Yeah, I would have thought so. I don't think they would have still carried on with the cloak and dagger stuff. And I think with the amount of drones that have been taken down, there would be some form of evidence that would indicate where it's come from. Because from what I've looked into, there's been about 5 or 6 that have been successfully brought down. And one of them was actually sort of, they collected all the pieces together. So surely somewhere in the circuit boards that are used to operate the drone, there would be an indicator as to where this has come from. I can't understand how, the fingers are being pointed in all directions. And yet the biggest piece of evidence would be in the drone itself. And now that there's been enough of them knocked down, there should be answers. And like you say, countries would have owned up to it by now because it's been going on for a couple of weeks now.
And there's the other conspiracy going around about the air whales. Have you seen that one? That there's like these whole species that we've been overlooking, like in our atmosphere.
Yeah.
And they're something's happening with the atmosphere right now, and they're starting to come lower down, and that's what we're seeing.
Yeah. I mean, I
don't know about that.
There was also a theory about the reason why we don't see these so-called air whales and UAPs is because of the fact that they generate a frequency that our eyes can't see. And so we don't see them. But once human beings are enlightened enough and we're able to get that frequency, we're able to then see them. That's why only some people can see UAPs and not others. Has that theory been tested? Is there enough research into that as to whether that's true or not?
It's just so weird, though, that this happened a week after the UAP conference.
It does seem a little bit. It does seem a bit suspect, doesn't it? They're all standing there going, "Well, we've got this, we've got that, blah blah blah. You need to bring this forward. You need to tell us about this. You need to be honest." And then all of a sudden, these drones just appear out of the ocean, and you're like, "Okay, yeah, a little bit." Are they like we've said? Project Bluebeam, is this all going to be a part and parcel of disclosure, allowing us to know that there is something out there?
I got all excited because I tried to get you and Mark into this game called Helldivers. When all this started, they released like an alien invasion, and I was like, "Oh, I bet this is their PR team doing this."
Oddly
But
enough, I saw an advert for Helldivers the other day, and I thought, "Oh, this don't look too bad, actually."
yeah, they just got invaded by the Illuminids, which are these like squid-like beings, and there was it all started like it started. They won this game award, and then they released this, and then and then these drones were seen. I was like, "Oh, I bet." I mean, the last
Gary?
Game of Thrones episode, we had like was it like a 40-foot dragon put on the Empire State Building that we still don't know who did it. So shit gets crazy here when it comes to marketing. But no.
Yeah, it's
Oh, I see. Iranian ship in the comments. I think the inside shot is doing that.
Yeah, I think Gary says after millions of years they just appeared. I don't necessarily think they've just appeared. They've always been here. It's just the fact that I don't think the way they would look at it, and we've said it's on here so many times, that the human race isn't ready. And they would not want to come forward, share their knowledge or technology or anything like that if they thought we weren't ready. They would have stayed well away until we were enlightened enough to accept the information. And unfortunately, because of powers that be and religions that were ruling everybody's lives up until 100 years ago, we hadn't even been able to start that enlightenment for them to come forward. And now more and more people are becoming more aware of their surroundings and what's really going on. That's probably now allowing them to say, look, we should give them a chance now.
Like I said, the whole worrisome with me with all this and us knowing that they come out of the ocean is the whole Admiral Byrd story. And the big thing was pollution and nuclear warfare, as they warned us about. And now, like, everything's polluted, and now we're threatening each other with nuclear weapons, and then these are appearing out of the ocean. Maybe somebody deemed us as fixable.
Yeah,
Hopefully
I think
that's not the case, but
I don't know. I was thinking about it the other day. Obviously, we had the first Cold War with the USSR. It was a war of words. We've got this weapon. We can do this. We can do that. And America would say the same back. And it would be, well, we've got nuclear weapons here, here, and here. So if you strike us, we'll strike back. And then all the civilian populations were going through missile drills. Get under the table, hide this, get your bunkers ready, and be prepared for all of this. And it scared millions of people all around the world. And then obviously there was this break, this big break where everything seemed to have calmed down. The USSR crumbled. Nuclear weapons were supposed to be a thing of the past. Get rid of them. We don't want them. They're a bad thing. And they claimed that they'd got rid of most of their nuclear weapons. And now we've gone into a new era. But when you look at the first Cold War, there was a lot of UFO sightings in that period as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it was all centered around nuclear weapons. And now we've got the same situation all over again. Like you say, they're threatening to use nuclear weapons. Russia stands there and says, well, we'll do this. And then everybody else says, well, if you do that, no one's going to win because everybody else will join in as well. And of course, as a result, as with the first one, we've got a sudden increase of UFO sightings. So could this all be part and parcel of this Cold War thing again?
I mean, it could. Like I said, with the whole, if Admiral Byrd was right, if this isn't good, we're going to probably get our asses kicked, even if we like collate all together and even Russia joins the UN and Ukraine. We're probably still, they're probably still going to kick our ass. They did before.
We wouldn't stand a chance because they're going to be at least, I mean, even if they're 400 years ahead of us, they'd be so much more advanced.
And a lot of it too is starting to point towards like if this is real, there's a big chance these people are the Fae. So there's like a whole magical element with these two and technology that's ahead of us.
Yeah.
It's probably not a good. And I mean, we're at an all-time high with pollution right now, as well. We're checking both boxes off where they said don't do this or we're going to come and see you. Around that time too, they said they're going to come and see us. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But hopefully, it's just
we're sort of we're a tool to our own demise, really, aren't we? Because we stand there and we say we need to reduce emissions, and yet I think our prime minister hasn't actually spent a week in his office. He's spent it jetting around the world. He's been Italy, Turkey. He's been up to Norway, South America. He's gone all over the place. Well, how's he got there? He didn't teleport there. He got there on a jet. So he's just as responsible. You know, if we go on holiday in the middle of summer, we've only used a jet twice. Already he's used 10 years worth of my holiday air travel in half a year. So who's more pollutant? You know,
right.
am I more polluting because I go on holiday once a year, or is he polluting more because he's gone on these little business trips 15 times within 6 months? So they're the ones that are guilty of it. They're standing there pushing the agenda onto us, and yet they're the ones that are the guilty of it more than us. So who's at fault? It's not us. It's not us that should be the ones to suffer. They're the ones that need to wake up and go, well, you know, if we stop doing this, we'd reduce our carbon emissions by this much. It's, you know, and I think our little friends there are going to be just turning around and peeing themselves laughing because of the situation. I mean, you get governments of the world are a laughing stock because of the way they're taking advantage of people. Aliens up there would probably be looking at us and going, oh my God, them as a race, they're such clowns.
Right.
Because they can't just get on with it. You know, we're like, you know, well, we would do, but we're being ruled by Muppets. So what can we do?
And at this point in time, a Muppet probably would be better in charge.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, you guys have got one that decided to pardon his own son. That'd be interesting, actually, when Mr. T gets into presidency, whether he's going to turn around and rip that pardon up.
Right. We're gonna see.
That'd be nice to see it.
Well, here's the one
Sorry,
that told us.
you're going back to jail.
He originally said this too. He's like, just watch, he's gonna pardon this kid. And he did.
Yes. I suppose when you've got the power, you're going to use it, aren't you? Even if it is for his own family. I mean, he ain't never going to he wouldn't get back into office regardless, but, you know, he's just taking advantage of his power.
We have the whole sex case things going here again too with Diddy and the Epstein list is supposed to be released on the 20th. So I mean, does this have to do with that?
There's a lot going on in there. I mean, obviously we've still got this business in the Middle East. You know, obviously.
Yeah, you don't even hear about that much anymore. And then what's going on with Russia?
We do. We're getting all this business with Syria now, isn't there? You know, this rebel faction have got rid of President Assad, and then Israel goes and drops an earthquake bomb on it. Something wrong there. You know, why would you drop a massive bomb on a country that has just been freed from a dictatorship? Something about the group that's taken over. I don't know. It's a bit of a strange one. Hi, Noreen.
On
But
a
yeah,
different note, though, I heard China had a breakthrough the past couple days in diabetes. I don't know if you saw that, but they actually
oh,
think
that'd
it's
be
going
nice.
to
I had heard,
distinguish
I've
distinguish
heard a lot of
disease.
places that diabetes can actually be reversed. It's just these
Mhm.
pharmaceutical companies don't want it reversed.
That's
If
a
you
huge
could,
thing that's going on over here too with the
yeah, I
pharmaceutical
mean,
company and our food. We're starting to
yeah,
follow
I
over
mean,
your guys' footsteps.
if you could reverse something like diabetes, that's a big thing. That's a really big thing, and there are a lot of claims out there that state that having the right natural medicines, you can reverse diabetes.
I
Now,
honestly think there's probably a herbal cure for everything.
yeah, I mean, I've been seeing a lot of it lately on, oh, actually on Facebook as well, Facebook and TikTok. The home apothecary, apothecary, or whatever it's called. You know, ancient recipes for medicines and things. And it's a book out there now that apparently they're trying to ban because it has 250 recipes that are
Yeah,
herbal
see, I don't know.
remedies.
There's been a couple of them books on TikTok. So it's like, are these books really getting banned? Is that your sales bitch?
So like penicillin soup. I'm like, yeah, really? You know where penicillin comes from? You know, I don't particularly fancy having mold soup. Thank you very much.
I didn't hear anything about that. I'm very, very, very allergic to penicillin. So, like, yeah,
It's
it's like my kryptonite.
yeah. Well, I mean, this book is it's 250 natural medicines that you at home
Mhm.
can use for various ailments. So it's things like athlete's foot, migraines, arthritis, and it just shows you what the medicine is, how you make it, what the dosages are, what the measurements of the ingredients are, and the method on how to make them. And that book in itself is now being seen as a threat by the pharmaceutical companies because it means people will walk away from the pharmaceutical firms and do it themselves. And I now do it myself. I mean, I use I've got this one. So anyway, there we go. Shilajit, lion's mane, and Irish sea moss capsules, and they're supposed to help you with brain fog,
Oh,
fatigue,
okay.
and things like that.
I was
And
wanting to try that Nero gum. I don't know if you heard of that. Joe Rogan used to pump it, and Dana White.
no,
It's supposed to do the same thing. It's just but it's bubble gum that you just chew. It's
well, that one's
for,
just one or two capsules a day, and I took the
I
first one
think it's
last
like the
night.
same. I think it's like the same stuff in it, like Shajit.
Yeah, was it Nepalese Shilajit? And I couldn't say it properly to start off with, so I just kept on calling it silly shit.
Hopefully, the silly shit helps.
have a tea, have a teaspoon of silly shit, you'll be much better.
Good.
But it was weird because I took one capsule last night, and I woke up this morning and I was out of bed straight away.
Hmm.
Normally I'd lay there and I'd stretch a bit or just open my eyes and just lay there and sort of work out where the world is compared to me. And then after 10, 15 minutes, I'd get up. This morning, I was quite with it, and I sat straight up. And on all throughout the day, I've felt like I've had a lot more energy, and I've been walking a lot better. And over the last week, my hip and my knee have been a bit of an issue, but today it hasn't been so bad. So I've got, I think it's 6 months supply
Oh wow.
to go through. So I'm going to see how it goes for the 6 months and see what happens.
I've
But
been dealing with that the past 2 weeks too, and I think it's just cold weather. I'm like, yay! Why do I
if
live in one of the cold
yeah,
places?
if you've got joint issues, cold weather will make it flare up. I mean,
You're getting old.
yeah, I get gout, which is a form of arthritis, and I discovered cherry juice is brilliant for arthritis, especially gout.
I'll try that.
It's something to do with the urite levels, which causes gout and arthritis, because gout is a form of rheumatoid arthritis, and it's something to do with one of the chemicals in cherry juice that eliminates the urite crystals in the gout around the joints. And so I just went out and I brought some cherry juice. I've made it last 3 days. 1 litre lasts 3 days, and it started to clear up. But it was quite a cost-effective treatment rather than going to the doctors, and we have to pay. I think it's about £10 now for a prescription. So I would go to the doctor, get a prescription from the doctor, and for the next 2 weeks, take these tablets that may or may not work, and sometimes they don't. And for about £3, I got 2 litres of cherry juice, and I've done it the natural way,
Right?
and
That's the way to do it.
So
I don't know about over there, but over here we have so many prescriptions that they're so bad for you compared to what they're helping for. And they make you feel so horrible, and they're just like, "Oh, just give it time." And it's like, no.
Yeah, do I really want to take this?
Right? I like commercials too when they advertise these stuff over here, and then they're like, may cause this, and this, and it sounds like it's a fucking auctioneer saying it. And it's like, I heard him say death like 4 times. What does it stop? Hemorrhoids? I think I'll pass. Blindness?
I saw the craze where you make I suppose a tea with ginger, lemon, honey, and cayenne pepper. And I thought, you know what? I'll give that a go. It's spicy as hell, but it done half work. I was taking it for about 2 months. First thing in the morning when you got up, and literally just with hot water, mix them all together and make a little drink out of it, and just drink it like it's a soup. And it warms you up, but it's a good wake up juice as well. But it literally gets a lot of the goodnesses and the antioxidants from the ingredients that actually help clear your system out. And I thought, you know what, that ain't a bad idea. And I kept taking it. And as a result, when everybody else was getting colds, I wasn't. So it boosts your immune system. And that's what these capsules do as well. They help boost your immune system. So when everybody else is falling down with novovirus and the flu and all sorts, I'm walking around going, I don't care.
That's awesome. I'll have to try it.
But it's weird because, people say, oh, TikTok's a bad place, blah, blah, blah. But I've seen some of these things on TikTok and then I've researched it. Rather than just jumping the gun and gone, I'm going to buy these because they look like they work. I've looked into it and I've researched each of the ingredients, and I've actually seen the actual value of those ingredients and gone, right, okay, I'll give them a try now.
We're back on the business of banning TikTok here again. So annoying. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, they were saying that over here as well. It has been mentioned, do we ban TikTok?
Oh, really?
And we were like, why ban TikTok? Is it because they're saying things on TikTok that you don't like? The governments or the governments don't want you saying things like this because it could lead to discontent, or it could be anti-governmental and all this, and could cause problems. And they're like, well, no, it's because people want to tell the truth, and the people should be able to tell the truth.
It's because you sold us out to make your family rich. Yeah, and now you don't want us to shoot your ass.
Yeah.
That's the other thing, too, we didn't talk about was the assassin over here. There's a lot of people really fucking scared in America right now, and you should be. You literally should be, and I doubt any of the people are watching us though. But if you're the type of person that are like, I'm gonna make millions of dollars by screwing everybody. Oh no, why are people trying to shoot me? Kind of like high school. If you bullied everybody, one day somebody just came and kicked the shit out of you. It's like that continues when you're an adult. You can't
Yeah.
do immoral things for forever and think you're gonna get away with it.
It's I think it's a case of, how far do you push it? And at the end of the day, I mean, a lot of the things that I find on TikTok at the moment are all centered around these UAPs, herbal
Mhm.
remedies, and people trying food. 'Cause the
You don't
majority of
see
things.
anybody dancing anymore.
No, we've got one complete moron on TikTok that likes to stand on top of telephone exchange boxes, dancing in the middle of London, claiming to raise money for charity, and then spends it on himself. Um, but the majority on my For You page, it tends to be people trying spicy foods. So they stand there and they go, "Oh, I'm going to try this chili with some chili oil," and then you see the expression on their faces. So they're quite funny, some of them. But then you get other
I haven't
people.
seen them in a while.
There's one on ours called Candy's Cooking. When you go on TikTok next, look up Candy's Cooking. It is hilarious. This girl cannot cook to save her life, and half the food that she cooks for herself and her so-called next door neighbor would have you in the bathroom pretty quick.
Mine's all conspiracies, just with ways formed, my following and everything. With lost in
Yeah,
the rabbit hole, it's all
I,
paranormal. This, buy
yeah.
that, or did
I
you see
think
this? Oh,
I
we have a
think
new
it's
one
because
too.
I've got. Oh, sorry, go on.
It's called what is it? Clipper? It's not Clapper. It's Clipper. It's new here in America. It's like it's a bunch of shit you don't want to see, and it's not nudity. It's like I got it, but it's all like shootings and car crashes and like police cam footage. It's kind of like,
Yeah.
oh, I'll put that down.
Yeah, we get all sorts of stuff, and I think the algorithm works it out, doesn't it? And it goes, "Oh, you looked at this, so we'll stick a few more of these sort of videos in." And I'll get these ones where there's been a police chase or something like that, or someone has been pulled over by the police because they were 4 miles per hour over the speed limit, and then the driver decides he doesn't want to show the police officer his driving license.
Yeah, I see a lot of them
You
too.
know, and I'm like,
Sovereign citizen. I don't have
yeah.
to show you shit. And then the cop makes his window and it's all like, "You're going to jail, junkie."
Exactly. I mean, what do they expect? You stood there. You've gone,
Right.
"I'm not giving you my ID." Well, simple. Hand over your ID, accept the ticket, and be on your way. You know, it would save a lot of hassle if you just let the officer do their job and get on with it. All you got to do is show your license. But they don't. They go, "No, why should I show you my license?" And you're like, "Well, you've just been pulled over for speeding, you idiot."
I like the ones that are sovereign citizens that are like, "We don't have to show you shit." And they're like, "Oh, you're really
Yeah.
dumb. Okay. We're going to take you to the drunk tank now."
I saw one the other, was it? They were coming in from Mexico. There was a couple in a car, and the person on the passenger side, when they got pulled over by the police turned around and said, "Can we see your ID, please?" And the
He was
passenger
like, "Oh,
gave the officer his ID. The driver turned around and went, "I'm a sovereign citizen. I'm not showing you." And the officer turned around and said, "But you've just come in from outside the United States. So you're coming into the country. You need to show your ID. I'm a sovereign citizen. I don't need to show you shit." So the cop turned around and went, "Out the car."
and
And you're like, you
they
know,
probably took his truck apart." That's
sorry.
that's why this. I've had friends that have done this shit and have fought with Border Patrol, and they usually pick your truck apart when you piss them off. They don't arrest you; they just completely
Yeah.
take your truck apart, and they say, "Well, you're free to go." And then your truck's in pieces, and they're like, "Well, what am I supposed to do?" And they're like, "Well, I'm not a mechanic.
Yeah.
I can't give you your ID."
I don't know
So
how to put it
yeah,
back together
we
again. She has
took
to
it
do it
apart. I
yourself.
don't remember. Yeah, fill out this form. Somebody maybe help you in 10 to 20 days. But yeah, move along.
Yep, we
Take your
had that
truck
over
with
here.
you.
We had the obviously we got the duty free law, and you're only allowed to bring back into this country. You're only allowed to bring back so many cigarettes, so much wine, so much spirit, and so much beer. And every people would go over to say from here to France, and they'd go to the hypermarkets to buy the cheap wine, the cheap beer, the cheap cigarettes, and then they would drive back. And obviously, a lot of people would buy slightly more than what they should do. So, of course, they'd come back and you'd be going through customs. You'd be like, right, don't look at the customs guards. Do not look at the border patrol guards. They will pull you over if you stare at them the wrong way. And you'd be like, okay. So you just keep looking forward. That makes you look more suspicious because you ain't moving at all. You're just sitting there going, as the car's going past and praying to God that you don't blink out of place. And then all of a sudden you get pulled over and you start giving them lip. It's right. Well, can you go over and sit in that waiting room over there, please, while we rip your car to pieces? And it'll be like, you've got one bottle of wine more than you should have. So you either pay the duty on it or it gets confiscated. Then we joined the EU and all of that went out the window. You could bring back as much as you liked, as long as you could prove you weren't selling it on. Or,
Oh wow!
sorry, they had to prove that you weren't going to sell it on when you got home. It was stupid laws. They got rid of the duty-free law so you could bring back as much tobacco as you liked. And to start off with, it was you had to prove to them. And we were like, well, hang on a minute. I can bring back as much as I like and smoke it, but I can't sell it. So I've got to prove to them I'm not going to sell it. Well, all I can do is say I'm not going to sell it. So they then changed it to they've got to prove you're not going to sell it. Which made it harder for them to prove you weren't going to sell it on. So most people just, the customs guards just went, yeah, go on with it. But now we've gone back to that duty-free system again. So you get lots of people will go over.
Bureaucracy.
200 cigarettes you're allowed to bring back from the EU. You can bring 200 cigarettes back. And people still do it now. They go out and they buy 2 packs of 200 cigarettes. So that's 10 packets of cigarettes per pack. Okay, because each packet has 20 cigarettes in. They will deliberately open one pack or one carton of cigarettes, and then each of the 10 packets they would open and take one cigarette out of each packet. So it was a broken pack of 200.
Oh, okay.
And they think then that the border control guards won't pick you apart because you've brought 2 packs back rather than the one. It's a bit weird. It's a bit weird, but yeah, it is a strange one. But yeah, well, I think do you realise we've actually come to the end of it?
Yeah, we had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we moved to.
We got there, and I've got to now go and check what time Mark's plane comes in.
Oh, are you? Yeah, I forgot his car's by you. I know right before we went on, he boarded.
I've got to go to the airport and pick him up. I do love it.
And they're staying by you guys tonight?
No, they've got to go. They've literally got to go straight home because they've got electricians coming round first thing in the morning. So I'm going to head down to the airport and pick them up. They're due to land at midnight. So I'm going to go over to the airport once I'm off here and go and pick them up from the airport. Sorry?
You got a little while yet, right?
Well, they land in an hour and a half. It will take me about 50 minutes to get to the airport. So I said, what I'll do is I'll go into the car park. I'll park up and I'll go into the airport and get a cup of coffee. I'm waiting for them to come through arrivals. It's just easier that way. I then get a little bit of a break. I can have a cup of coffee and then I can stand at arrivals and I can go when they come through the door. and then go up and run up to them and give them a hug. So yeah, they're due back tonight, and then they're going to be straight back to Scarborough from mine. So they've got a good 3-hour drive ahead of them.
Ooh. I was talking to Mark a little bit today.
Well, they need to get back, so they've had a busy day today. So but yeah,
the end of the vacation, that was the worst.
that'll be next week. He'll be going, we did this and we did that and we drank this and ate that, and but cool.
Yep.
I don't mind. So yeah. So as always, it's been a strange one. We started talking about UAPs and what's going on, and somehow managed to talk about duty free.
Right? Oh, I could just go on with what I told you before the show. But as usual, if you guys see anything strange, unusual, or pick up some picture of these drones or UAPs, film them, send them to us.
Yep, either through the email address or send us, myself, Josh, or Mark a message or whatever, and or tag us into the video. If you can tag us into the videos, that's just as good, because it takes us direct to source. Rather than, because sometimes when you copy links and you share videos, sometimes it degrades the video. Same as what it does with a still photo. The more you share it, the more it degrades the quality of the picture. So we would then eventually look at it and go, that's a bit grainy. We can't really see much detail. So if the link is shared, it's a lot easier for us to identify things. So,
do you have anything else before we go?
No, I'm done. I'm done now till the new year. I've got Christmas is now well and truly on the way now for me, because we did our last event on Saturday night at the Red Lion Hotel in Colchester, which was really good. Now we're talking to someone about doing a location in January, which we don't normally do. We don't normally do anything until March because of the weather. So I don't know what's going on, but I'm looking forward to Christmas. I'm not sure whether we're going to do a show next week. I'm got to check with Mark, because I thought we were going to do the annual Christmas quiz. So I'll have a word with Mark and see what we're doing. We may have to do it early.
I don't know. I thought I was hitting a hiatus period here, but then I looked and I have a ton of emails. So every time I'm out, they pull me back in. So we'll see. There'll be more lost in the rabbit hole. We got to get to your interview too coming up. So watch out. We're around, guys.
Yep. So everybody, well, thank you for joining us tonight. And if we don't see you before the new year, we wish you a happy Christmas and a brilliant new year. Don't eat too much turkey, roast potatoes. Don't unwrap or overwrap too many presents and drink too much eggnog or beer or anything that would get you in a bit of a state so that you miss New Year because you're too paralytic to remember it. Just have a great time, and we will see you soon.
Absolutely. Catch y'all later. And don't forget the Christmas quiz.
Oh, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.